Hello, and welcome back to the Who Are You podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Connor Overbay. Got the wifey sitting over there, Shannon Overbay.
Hello.
If this is your first time checking out the Who Are You podcast, welcome. We love to have new listeners, new watchers, any way you guys are consuming our content. And if you guys are consuming our content, make sure to give us a follow, a like, a subscribe on all of it, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube. It's all under at Who Are You pod for all those things there. If you guys are interested in being on the show, whether you're a content creator, musician, really a mix of anything, a lawyer, be more than happy to have you guys reach out to us through our email. It's going to be whoareyoupod@yahoo.com, and maybe we'll have you guys on a future episode. But today, sitting down with a very, very special guest, a fellow podcaster, a lawyer, a man of really many talents ever since I've checked out the social media. Today, we are sitting down with Seth Studer. Thank you for taking the time to come sit down with us, my man.
Hey, Connor, good to be here, man.
Yes, sir.
This has been this is my first podcast guest appearance.
Love it. I love it.
I'm excited to be here for sure.
Yeah, man. We were super excited to have you. Thank you for reaching out and everything. We love whenever we have other guests on and then people reach out from seeing that interview. Shout out to Connor McNally from the Jungle Beat podcast and Happy Hour Sports Media. And you said you saw his episode and everything.
Yeah, I did. So good enough for good enough for Connor, and Connor good enough for me. And we had Connor on our last one of our last episodes of the Jaguars pod, and it just good fit, good flow, and hell yeah to what y'all are doing here.
Hey, we appreciate it, my man. Before we get too far into the conversation, please let everybody know where they can follow you on social media, your podcast, all that kind of stuff.
Hey, listen, people, I'm an attorney. I'm going to give you my cell phone number, 904-234-9700. Any legal questions, if I don't know them, I'm going to send them to someone who does. I'm going to help you out. Also, follow me on social, X and Instagram, at Seth Studer, Studer.
I love it. And like I said, love the spiffy suit and everything as well.
Yeah, I had to dress my lawyer suit.
Hey, I respect it. Shannon's like, oh, I feel underdressed. I'm like, it's okay. But
yeah, I don't. But the thing about, I don't wear the suit that often. Mm-hmm. But today I'm going, yeah, let's dust it off.
Represent.
I
represents. I got the green suit is aggressive.
I like it, to be honest with you.
But if it works, it works.
Yeah.
So I was just feeling it today.
I think it works.
I love it.
Thank you.
And obviously, you brought up that you're an attorney and everything. Shannon has worked in the same field as you. She's not a lawyer, obviously, at the current moment, but it's cool to sit down with another person who is in that field. You're actually our second lawyer we've ever had on the podcast. So,
neat.
Yeah, so we love...
Aside from the
Mr. Randall.
previous employer.
Yeah, besides Mr. Randall and everything. But
sure.
It's always cool to sit down with people because I always find law very interesting. I'm sure you find it interesting, but I'm sure there's some mundane parts to it.
There are, but and that's kind of the thing is like, what's the package? So I'm an attorney at Campione Law, and so I've been an attorney for 12 years now.
Nice.
And so it's been a long journey. But I started with Campione, and I've known him for a long time. I've known him for 8 years. I'm like, whoa, bro, you got a billboard? And then this, that, and he's expanding and doing all these things, and you can just tell he's doing it the right way. And I was just thinking, I was like, man, if I had a choice, that'd be where I'd like to go. And since joining last January, we've just done a lot of things there at Campione Law that has just been really impressive, and I just wanted to be part of that rocket ship. So
it's blowing up. I see them all over the place, and funny enough, they used to have an office, I believe, near university.
Yeah,
somewhere
that's
around.
right. That's it. Yeah.
So one of my trade jobs I used to do before what I do now, I actually did pest control for them for a while.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, so I was in those offices probably every 90 days, going around saying hi to people and stuff. So
the times have changed. We've blown up, man. It's
been
great.
And it's great. And is Campione Law a Jacksonville based?
Yeah. So we are based out of Jacksonville. However, we got offices in Orlando, Fort Lauderdale. We're opening up. So I'm in the St. Augustine office.
Nice.
Right now. We're opening up one in Savannah, one in Las Vegas, possibly coming soon. We don't know. It's just growing right now, and we just want to make sure that we keep that same quality and helping our clients. But, we've just done all the right things, and we've been in a very blessed situation to be able to grow the way we have. But there's growing, and then there's growing intelligently.
Exactly.
And that's what we're doing.
And so obviously you were talking about how, you've known the Campiones for a little while and everything.
Yeah.
With someone who is out of law school and everything, what made you feel like this was the perfect fit for you to be working for them?
Well, because I started so I do all the personal injury. Have you been injured in a car accident? best call Seth, like whatever, but I didn't start that way. I started in the criminal defense sphere, and that's what I did the first 4 years of my career, and it just kind of naturally evolved. And we can kind of talk about about that, but criminal defense was such an interesting way to get started, right? And then it just kind of made sense to go from criminal defense and where you're representing the little guy, right? Mm-hmm. It's you versus everybody else, right? Mm-hmm. They don't have a dime. You're a public defender. You're appointed, and it's you versus the world.
Is that what you are? You were a public defender?
I was a public defender for 3.5 years, man.
Oh, God.
3.5 years. And then, so to graduate from that, then the logical step is to, frankly, represent the little guy against the big insurance companies, right? Where you're paying hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month, and then you make a claim because you're hurt. They're like, but we're going to offer you, is this okay?
Here's $1,000.
Yeah, go on, here you go. And it's like, so it naturally kind of feeds one into the other.
Yeah.
And so I started doing personal injury maybe about 8 years ago.
Nice.
Been a firm before this, but wanted to join Campione. Glad to be a part of Campione, and now I'm doing content.
I love it.
It's been a wild ride.
We're kind of switching into a world now where business is content now.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, and it's crazy to see. Obviously, like we know you have the podcast and everything. We will get into that a little bit later into the interview. So I did have some questions about public defender.
Go for it.
Because it's an interesting thing, and whether I've known people who have gone through the legal system and had issues with that stuff,
right?
And some people are saying, if you don't have a dime to your name, it's kind of hard to whether certain charges, certain things are popping up. Obviously,
you get a public pretender.
Yeah. And I've also heard, obviously, public defenders are just overrun with the amount of whether it's caseloads going on, people, and only able to get so much information at those times.
Yes.
So what was that experience like? I feel like you probably run with your hair on fire all the time.
I was. But, I mean, before that, I will say that since Charlie Kofer has come in there, they've really done a good job with additional funding.
Nice.
And additional pay for a lot of the public defenders.
Good.
And it's one of those things where it's just been, I can see that, and I talk to public defenders who I know now, and it's just night and day difference of what it was. When I was there, it was kind of just like, baptism by fire.
Yeah.
And, the day I left, so I was there 3 years, 4 months, and we had a little software system. It was my last day. I'm like, I wonder how many cases. How many?
Yeah.
Right? So I was able to look it up, and it was 3,378. 3,378.
That just you had.
That was assigned to me at one point. Now some of them were quick ditties.
But how are you expected to keep up with a 3,000 and something caseload? I feel like that's damn near impossible, right?
It's damn near impossible. Yeah. But you do it. You do your best. You give them a zealous. I mean, and then at that point I was like, holy crap, what have I done? It's just like, it was such but I learned so much during that, and you can be listen, if you have the right attitude, you have the right organizational skills, you can really do a lot of damage because you see patterns. I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, you do it 3, 7, 8 times. Patterns, be able to resolve things. You get a working relationship with the prosecutor.
Of course.
Working relationship with the judge. Be able to understand some of the nuances of, okay, here's the evidence, here's the charge, here's their history. Be able to kind of maybe predict and see some things. So some of it, you're able to work faster because you do more.
Exactly.
Because you're before one judge usually is how it goes. You're assigned to one judge, so you know that judge very well.
So you would
even be better than some of the private attorneys.
So you'd be with the same judge each time you were on a case.
And some public defenders, sometimes you get moved from judge to judge.
Okay.
Fortunately, that didn't happen too much to me, but you just kind of get a sixth sense for everything, and you're just kind of in a flow state.
Gotcha.
looking back, you don't know how you did it, but you did it.
I get it. And I've become interested in, like, obviously TikTok, everything. There's all kinds of stuff on there. And there's a lawyer, I believe he was a criminal defense lawyer, and he was talking about how he's a seasoned guy. He's been in it for 20, 30 years, and he would go against prosecutors or people who are very young and very green in the gills. And even just to, like, the process of getting whether it's a picture or something into evidence and speaking to the judge about it, there's a specific process of how you do it. And he was talking about how he won a case that he should not have won because of the inexperience from the prosecutor themselves and not be able to get a piece of evidence. And when
not be able to say the right magic words in the right order at the right time.
And obviously a lot of people think about the movies, right? You see Law and Order, and I object and blah 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 blah, and they think it's this big movie scene when it's really not. Obviously there's procedures and ways of doing things.
Yes.
I find that really interesting because as someone who's layman who has never really been in that experience, I find it crazy how there's so many, whether it's little rules, and if you don't have that tribal knowledge, your case could go awry very quickly.
100%. And that's why you go to law school. That's why the practical practice, and that's why anybody who is in law school, and something that helped me a lot was making sure that I did internships where I was actually, boots on the ground, really observing how to practice.
And you did some cool internships from what I saw on your resume.
Yeah, it was yeah. So I got to do, worked at. I went to law school in New Orleans. Got to work for the Orleans Parish District Attorney's Office. Love how Louisiana just has to be weird about everything.
Yeah.
And did a lot of work there. And did work in appeals. Did work, and I had started with that criminal defense background, but come to find out just kind of eventually that kind of my calling was, because someone has a bad day, they get a charge that's terrible, and you need a zealous defense. But on the other hand, let's say this: let's say you're rear-ended, and let's say you have pain in your neck, and that pain it's not even a bad pain. You rated it maybe about 2, 3, but you're 30 years old. And that pain is going to be with you for the rest of your life. And you didn't ask for it. What's the value of that?
Mm-hmm.
Right? What is it? Is it $25,000? Is it $100,000? Is it
apparently
more?
Whatever the policy is.
Yeah, right. And insurance, comes and what the coverages come to be is a huge part of that. But that's always really interested me too, because that's something you can't. A lot of times there's no bruises or anything like that, and you have to build a case, the old-fashioned way, just through evidence, through testimony, through all that such, and it kind of challenges. And that procedure stuff that you're talking about, it's obviously very, very applicable at the criminal stuff, but even more so on the civil.
Is it? Okay.
Oh yeah, it is much more complicated on the procedural stuff, because the amount of evidence, right? You have to get medical experts to come in, all this stuff. It's actually a lot more complex and a lot more engaging for me.
Yeah.
To do it, and that's why I ended up making the switch when I did.
I like it. And Shannon, go ahead. I know you want to tell your story.
Yeah,
I know you got something to say.
Honestly, I mean. So
how'd I do?
No, you did
great.
Well, she went through the situation that you brought up twice, actually, with car accidents. So that's what I was talking about with you.
Okay, yeah. So in my time working as a case manager, case assistant, I've been through 2 accidents a year apart, actually.
Right.
So my first one was a rear end.
Mm-hmm.
I literally have pain every single day.
Right.
Great, I got the policy limits, but the guy had minimal,
Yeah.
What can I do about that? I can only go to treatment so much. Insurance can cover so much, but...
And he tried to walk up when I showed up to the scene trying to joke with me. I was like, sir, get away from me.
I am not your friend.
I was like, buddy, I'm not in the mood.
I literally got out of my car, physically, like, you could see I was in pain. He comes up, he's like, what happened? I'm like, I'm sorry, you just rear-ended me and you don't know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And tell them about the second one. That was real bad.
Interesting way to frame it. Wow.
Right.
Yeah. And then you have a chapter 2.
I have a chapter 2.
It was a stressful year.
It sounds like it.
Actually, about like a mile away. They say most accidents happen within a mile of your home.
True.
So I was almost here, and brand new 16-year-old driver with his license.
Oh no!
And you had a brand new
car from my last accident. He turned left in front of me.
Yep.
And I lay on my horn, I slam on my brakes, and he just
nothing you can do.
Nothing.
Jeez.
But there was an off-duty officer behind him, an off-duty nurse going to work in front of him.
Right.
So everyone stopped. They all, got me out and everything. I fractured my wrist, fractured my thumb.
Oh, fractures.
Well, time out there. So time out on that story. So that happens. I'm working at Orange Park at this current time. All I get a call is, and all I hear is basically the wreckage, like stopping, and I hear, get out of the car, blah, blah.
Oh, no.
Her crying and all this stuff. And I'm like,
your imagination.
I'm like, what is going on?
I don't think it's as bad as he says, because I didn't call you until after I was out of the car.
No, that's not true.
I don't know.
That's not true at all.
Maybe it was as I was getting out.
No, you were in the car screaming in pain because you're saying your wrists were messed up, all this stuff. And then I hear the nurse talking to you through the window, helping you get out of the car. And I broke.
Oh wow! It was bad.
The whole front end of her car was gone.
Oh my god!
That was the worst ever accident. Like, I literally, the airbag exploded. I had my hand on it, so that's why it fractured my wrist.
Sure.
But it did protect my face. But I just remember, like, after the impact, I was stunned. I'm like pushing the airbag down. I look up, my windshield's cracked. I'm like, not my new car.
No.
And then I realized, like, my hands are in excruciating pain.
And just you're figuring out one thing, then the next, then the next.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was bad.
Now, question for you then. And so you had that first accident, and you're still feeling it now. That's what you said.
Absolutely.
Right?
Daily. Yeah.
Now, what did that second accident? And obviously, because people get, pain, you get used to it. I mean, we're in America. You can pull yourself by the bootstraps, but it becomes eventually like a new skin, right?
Well, the exacerbation.
And so that's what my question was, like, what was that like, and were you hurting before, after the second accident?
So after my first incident, I had a lot of PT. I went through everything, and I was physically getting stronger, so it wasn't as bad to deal with.
Right.
The second one, since it was a different type of impact, different injuries.
Different angle, different
Yeah. So it was kind of like I didn't realize at first that my neck and back were hurting again because I was focused on the new injuries.
Yeah. It's weird.
But you do realize, and you have, like, get more MRIs, see what the differences are as for herniations or all that good stuff, but not good. But so honestly, the cold makes the pain worse.
I'm sure.
Her neck is a major issue. Still,
especially
this
winter.
Yeah, this winter's horrible.
Who you telling?
But I mean, like I said, you can only go to the chiropractor so much. You can only do the TENS unit and stuff so much. But I have a massage gun, so
good.
As soon as I feel it, if I'm home, I start taking the steps to alleviate if I can.
And the biggest takeaway is, and I'm not sure if you had it or not, but actually only about 30 people have it, is uninsured motorist coverage.
I have it. Yep.
Thank God.
We got that on the second one.
Well, funny enough, my mom worked in insurance forever. So.
Uninsured motorist coverage. And people are like, that increased my policy by so much. Yeah, but that's the only thing in the policy that is going to protect you if you are a good driver and someone else ain't.
Yep.
And UM coverage is so important. I literally end every one of my podcasts saying like a PSA like Bob Barker used to do with, like, don't forget to spray and neuter your pets. That's what I do with UM coverage. And so I'm so glad you got that. And I hope you have a recovery. But it's just such a tough thing for people to go through, and it's very common for people to go through it. And the one thing I tell my clients at the beginning, because like you said, like, you're focusing on your fractures and all that stuff, that you're not even really noticing the other things going on.
Soft tissue.
And so you got to go Zen Buddha on this. And I tell my clients A to Z, head to toe, every time you go. Listen to your body, right? Because the stuff that's screaming the loudest, that doesn't mean that the other parts aren't hurt.
Right.
Take 5 minutes, just meditate even before every appointment, and make sure you don't exaggerate. You don't make anything up. No, I'm asking you to report on what you're feeling, but you have to listen to your body to do that. And sometimes it's very hard for folk to do.
A lot of people try to play tough, and they're like, it's just a kink. It's fine. It'll work itself out. I'll just talk to my doctor about this.
It's an anti-whiner culture. And listen, and no one likes a whiner. But you're not whining. You're reporting what you're feeling.
Exactly.
And there's a big difference in that. And I call them Terminator clients.
Yeah.
They're the ones with the crazy high pain tolerances. And there are so many of those folks walking around because, most people are good, hardworking folks who don't like to complain, don't like to go to the doctor, don't like to admit that they're hurt. And so, when you hire a personal injury attorney like myself, part of my job is kind of letting them know, listen to your body.
Yeah.
Right? Go through it. And just for them to realize on their own, okay, here's what I'm feeling. Here's what I'm going through. And obviously we have to prove the case. So what evidence are we going to get?
No, I get it.
So, a lot of times, again, that tough cookie mentality, just you're only hurting yourself by that.
And back to the insurance, you're absolutely right. Everyone needs to have UM because you never know if that other person's going to have BI.
Right.
They're not required to carry it in Florida.
It's insane. I think Florida is one of 3, 4, 5 states that don't. Ladies and gentlemen, think about this. You can drive around, you can rear end somebody, you can have insurance, and you can have a policy so bad that your insurance company will refuse to pay the other party for any injury, $0. And guess what? Well, then you're on the hook.
That's true.
Personally, right? And then you can be sued. So it's crazy that we have a state. It was actually. Governor DeSantis vetoed it about 2 years ago, a law that would have set the minimum limits that everyone had to carry at least $25,000 of bodily injury. And that got vetoed a couple of years ago, and that made me roll my eyes. And so we're just kind of in the wild west here. So don't rely on the other person having good coverage. Protect yourself. Get That's my PSA.
No, I agree with you, man. Like going through that whole situation with her, it was a very wild situation. And when you brought that up, I was like, perfect story right there. And luckily she had insurance. Luckily we were able to get the payments and get medical fees taken care of. She did multiple years of physical therapy on everything, and she obviously still in pain, but she is.
Oh, you're fighting back.
Yeah,
yes.
Like we do low impact sports. We golf and do all that kind of stuff. but no, it's
couldn't do that after the second accident for a while. But
yeah, I reckon that.
Yeah, and you would think it's me that's getting injured all the time, and like she gets so mad. I come home like I got burns and cuts and stuff on my hands from what I do for work.
Yeah, right.
And she's like, "Wear gloves." I'm like, "No." I'm like, "I need to feel things." I'm like, "I got to be able to feel what I'm doing," kind of thing.
Yeah,
so
go for it. Yeah,
I know Campione does different types of law.
Yeah.
But for personal injury, have you always done motor vehicle? Have you done premises?
So we do premises slip and fall cases here too. I mean, we have negligent security cases. I got a case right now involving, a bouncer that Spartan kicked a door into somebody.
Oh.
And just completely, it's just wild. And I got a whole bunch of different fact scenarios. Long story short, if you're hurt and you didn't ask for it, just give a lawyer a call.
Yeah.
What's the worst they can say? No.
But don't just call them if you're just expecting money. Like, if you're hurt, call. But
well, yeah. I mean, you're feeling something and you didn't ask for what you're going through. At least talk to an attorney.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times there's a kind of like people have white coat syndrome thing with attorneys. Like, I guess because they're magic word and their green suits and such, intimidate folk. But just listen.
Yeah.
Just listen. And again, I'm very proud of how our firm communicates with clients. We try to make sure that you're just not talking to, no offense, the case manager or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm available.
Yeah. That's how it should be. That's the person you want to talk to is
That's
the person
you
who
want
gives you
to.
the answers.
I can't talk to you all the time, but I'm gonna make sure that you know what's going on and why things are going on the way they are.
Oh yeah. And I did have another question about the public defender side. So
yeah, sure. That's the more interesting side.
No, like what you guys are talking about is interesting to me 100% because obviously she works and she tells me about stuff and like, like experiences and everything.
No, but no, there's a lot more flash with the criminal defense. And I still do criminal.
Oh, do you?
Oh yeah, we do criminal. We do workers compensation work. I mean, we got a med-mal.
Oh good, if I ever get hurt, I got you.
Medical malpractice. We do a whole bunch of stuff, just check out our website. And again, just give me a call and then I'll let you know if we do it or we don't.
Yeah.
And then if not, well, I happen to know friends that do other types of
yeah. And when it comes to the public defender side, so I always think about, obviously you take your personal opinion out of things. I know that's not your job, is to be your opinion, right?
Right.
But when it comes to, say, like a very rough situation, whether it's maybe assault or, murder or whatever it is, has there ever been a case where you're sitting there, you're like, I really don't want to defend this, but unfortunately it is part of my job where I kind of have to kind of thing? And how do you kind of take your personal feelings out of that?
And that's a common question. Like, how do I compartmentalize? Seth, how do you represent people who are guilty? Duh.
Yeah, that's why they get a lawyer.
Of course I did.
Exactly.
But here's the thing. If you're a first-time offender and you commit a third-degree felony and they offer you 2 years in prison,
oof,
do you deserve that? No. I mean, it's a lot of times it's not fighting over guilt or innocence. It's fighting over what's right, what's just, what's the proper. Does the punishment fit the crime?
Yeah.
Right. And so, but on the other hand, I'm the only person protecting them from the state of Florida.
Yeah.
The state of Florida has all of the power to prosecute you and to take your liberty away from you.
And is Florida pretty aggressive on a lot of things?
It's changed over the years. It was a lot more aggressive when I was there.
Okay.
But still, I mean, it can be. It depends on judge, prosecutor. Jurisdiction. Are we in Bradford County? Right? Like, all those different things. But the point is that I never ever flinched at representing somebody because I didn't think of it that way. The way I thought about it was my job is, because the reason why we all can't just be hauled off and put to jail just on a whim is because you have to have evidence for it.
Exactly.
And I'm the only person. I mean, I guess they could do it themselves, but good luck.
Have fun with that.
But I'm the only person who is in their way to make sure I hold them to that very, very high standard of proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
Because that's their burden to do.
That's their burden. And it's the highest burden there is for a reason. Because we don't want to lock people up for anything less than that.
Yeah.
It's not a good society to be in. We want to make sure that they can prove it beyond any reasonable doubt. And so, so when you think of it and when you frame it that way, like, hey, my job is to protect his constitutional rights in the justice system, it never bothered me.
Gotcha. And this is my last law question. Sorry, I know I'm just hammering you with law questions.
I can do law all day, baby.
So when it comes to with your career of doing this, right, has there ever been a situation where you're in the courtroom and you feel like someone got a pretty raw deal on it? And my second question to that is, why is it so often now that people have to take plea deals rather than going to trial? Like, trial seems to be the scariest part for a lot of people, where I guess it comes down to public opinion, your peers, quote unquote peers, on that.
A couple of things. I mean, yes. I mean, there have been times where, because I've done maybe more than a dozen jury trials, and I've lost some, and my clients were punished a little harshly for that. But the reason we have a plea deal system is, honestly, it takes so long to have it. I mean, a trial, you're probably going to get a better deal.
Is that usually what it is? Is the better deal?
Well, I mean, it's a plea bargain for a reason. So, I mean, you're negotiating that, and it's like, hey, are you going to win this case? Can you prove it beyond a reasonable doubt? You got some evidence. You got all the evidence?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you? Do you want to take your chance in court? Do you want to, Mr. Prosecutor, do you want to have a loss on your record? Do you want to take this L?
And that's usually what it is. It's a lot of, because I know there's a lot of ego that goes into a lot of this.
There's so much ego that goes into it. And it's a health, I mean, and you got to be able to, you got to fight to win, right? And it's just about I hate losing more than I like winning. Mm-hmm. Right? Like that kind of like attitude with it. And I've always kind of had that edge. But the thing is, I mean, man, everybody demanding a trial at once. Good luck trying to find the court calendar to actually practically put that on.
Well, 2 years out.
So if everyone ganged up and did that all at one time, the prosecutor would be offering sweetheart dates.
Well, that's the thing that's scary as well, is because there's some people who are sitting in a jail cell who are going through their due process, and it's 5 years down the line, and they just didn't have enough money to bond themselves out. I feel like that's so scary. It
is. Well, they have the right to reasonable bail, right, and to reasonable bail based on the circumstances.
Of course.
And there's a reason, for that, and sometimes there's excessive bail. But good attorneys a lot of times can negotiate that down. But when you have very high crimes and such, obviously with flight risks and everything, and that's why a good attorney is there needs to be there on the. The public defenders actually do and the judges are in charge of trying to make sure something just doesn't sit for the sake of sitting.
Gotcha.
And as a whole, compared to, other jurisdictions that I've heard about, the Jacksonville area and their bench, right? The bench is what they call all the judges. Mm-hmm. The bench in Jacksonville, Florida, and Clay and Nassau, that's the judicial circuit we're in, is actually, all in all, very, very, good about making sure nothing gets elongated too much.
Well, that's reassuring. It
is. It's very reassuring. Compared to other places, I think we have a very good judiciary here.
Yeah.
A lot of them I've met personally, over the years, and it's something as a native North Floridian I'm very proud of, and seeing that we have a very good a row of judges, and we have a very good set of attorneys.
Nice.
Here defending, prosecuting, helping, the folks, whoever that is, whether you're a business who's getting sued, right? Mm-hmm. Whether you're a person who's getting sued, whether you're a person that is suing, whether you're a business that's suing, whatever it is, there's, we got a lot of talent here, and I'm just so thankful to be part of a talented firm like Campione's.
No, that's really cool. And the reason why I bring up a lot of this stuff is I've gone to friends or acquaintances of people where they've gotten arraigned, and, you see the list of people before them as, they're getting read their charges, read if they're going to take it right then and there.
Right.
And I've seen people go up on the stand and be there for 5 minutes, and 5 years of their life got taken away. I'm like, whoa.
Right.
Whoa. That's a very scary thought.
Life comes at you fast sometimes on these kind of things.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of laws with repeat offender
very
stuff.
True. Yep.
Your criminal history has a lot to do with how you're being judged, But also, what should come into effect is, is this person, is this an addict? Is this? Mm-hmm. How are there other ways besides just lock them up, throw the key, see you later, alligator, that we can help people with? And sometimes there are, and sometimes there's not.
Yeah.
And but as a defense attorney, it doesn't matter. I got to fight.
I get that.
Yeah. Again, I'm the only person this guy got.
Yeah.
So.
And then this is my last law question for you there. So if you had a magic wand, you could change anything in our judicial system or anything that you deal with, what would you feel like is a big red flag or a big thing that if you could change it, you would?
You know what? I think it would be, and this is the low-hanging fruit, because I really believe it. It is so unfair when jackasses be driving around with no insurance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's crazy. If I could have a magic wand, right? If I could, Daniel Radcliffe that thing, I would mandate, at least, either 50 or 100,000 bodily injury.
I like it.
Like if you're going to pay that money for enough money for insurance, your insurance should be able to pony up that amount of money for you.
I like it.
And there's other ways to, decrease costs and take away, but that's the one thing I would change. I think it's just ridiculous that you can be insured and your insurance company doesn't have to pay a dime for injuries that you cause.
And really, all insurance is you're just betting on yourself each month.
Yeah, and the insurance is like it's a rig. That's a rigged casino.
Oh, yeah,
right.
Yeah.
When the insurance goes, okay, you hit somebody, you don't have to pay. We're not paying for anything.
Yeah, like I find it crazy. Like even myself, I've been considered a safe driver or whatever it is, like knock on wood, haven't had any issues with accidents and stuff. And still, insurance is crazy expensive. It doesn't, and even with me,
it's always going to be expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, they got more. If they got more commercials than us personal injury attorneys have, I mean, what kind of money y'all working with, boys?
Some freaking billions.
Yeah, right.
So let's get into your life a little bit. I would love to learn some more of your background. So obviously, we talked about a little bit, kind of brush past about you going to University of Florida. Go Gators!
Yeah, buddy.
Yes, sir. I'm a big Gator fan myself. And when it came to going there, I saw you were in a fraternity.
Yeah.
So obviously, there is a stigma around frats and everything like that. What was the reason for you to join a fraternity, and has it actually, like, obviously I hear people about networking, future jobs, all that kind of stuff. What was your reason for joining a frat?
Yeah, so, I was blessed to go there during the Tim Tebow years.
Hell yeah.
I went right
Sick.
across, like when his freshman year was my freshman year, et cetera. And actually, funny enough is I didn't join a fraternity until like my sophomore year.
Okay.
Like I had rushed for like the typical fraternities, but they had too many like pop collars back then and other things and kind of the attitude. But I ended up joining a fraternity that didn't have a house. They were just kind of like, it was kind of like
you were Sigma Pi, right?
Yeah. But this particular branch of Sigma Pi was a bunch of just, I loved them. A bunch of rascals.
A bunch of rascals.
A bunch of rascals and just interesting characters.
Yeah.
And, again, we didn't even have a house, so we were just kind of like our own little club, little
I like
club.
it.
And but funny enough, a couple weeks ago, drove down to Melbourne and met two of them. One of them flew down from Minneapolis, where all that crazy stuff's going on right now.
Yeah, it's scary over there right now.
And I got to see him. He was in my fraternity. The other guy there in Melbourne. So those are lifelong friendships that you cherish. It's about finding the right fit and the right dudes for you. And that group of rascals was my group.
That's cool. Because like for me personally, I went to FSCJ here in Jacksonville. I would not have survived going to a big college. I had a lot of fun in college, and it's probably a good thing I stayed here in Jacksonville. Yeah. So what was it like going to the university, especially at that time? I forget who we sat down with who went around the same time. I think it was Vic Micolucci. Thank you. He went to University of Florida around that same time as well, and he was talking about obviously all the sporting events and obviously there's just the caliber of whether it's now celebrities that were there at that time. Obviously, Tim Tebow. I think Al Horford was going there at that time as well. Joakim Noah. I mean, the list goes on. There's a couple news anchors, like basically half of ESPN went there. What was it like to go to the heyday of University of Florida?
It's so cool looking back on it. My first class was introduction to international relations class, and I sat down and. Well, you couldn't miss him. Al Horford was right there.
Huge.
My first class ever, and Corey Brewer both.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Corey Brewer was there
cool.
too. One, the most anonymous guy who's ever dropped 50 in the NBA. Corey Brewer,
exactly.
And excellent player. And I was like, what? Because they had won the championship, and then I started there that fall. And
that's right. They went back to back around that time. That's right.
So I was just championship, and it was so crazy. It just obviously the party scene and this, that, and the other, and you're just glad that you got through it okay.
Yeah.
And got to learn a little something too, right? But it was just such a buzz there that you can never in that Tebow mania stuff, and just what. Him and that basketball team. I mean, to run it back to back,
it's very
with
hard.
The same players, and because they could have gone, at lottery picks. I know Noah could have, and Horford could have, and they're like, no, let's run it back.
Yeah,
and to do that, and say you're going to do it, and then do it.
Yep.
Ooh. Looking back, it's really cool that I got to have and be in that city at that time.
I'll say that, like, Shannon, the people that went there, it's crazy. If you look on ESPN, a third of them went to Florida at that time. Yeah. And obviously...
They're really good journalism school.
Yeah, exactly. And then we had some killers there, literally, with Aaron Hernandez going there at the time. That was we swiped that away. Stuff happens at that. But it's so cool to hear, like, the buzz that was going around that time. And you obviously...
We're not going to let Aaron Hernandez take away the entire buzz.
Oh, exactly.
That was his issue.
Exactly. He did what he did.
Don't let rotten apples spoil the bunch, bro.
Exactly. And then we had a
really bad apple, though.
Some rough stories.
But there's some really great greats as well.
Yeah, let's talk about everybody else. Damn it.
Well, it's even cool to see where Tim Tebow has gone now. Like Tim Tebow has now moved into really helping fight against like child sex labor and all that. And it's really cool to see him, even though the NFL didn't work out, and I personally feel like he got a raw deal in the NFL, and seeing him, what he's doing outside of that now. Joakim Noah is also huge in that as well. He's going around helping people. Al Horford, I'm a Boston Celtics fan.
Oh, cool.
And he was on the Celtics for a long time. Love Al Horford on there. It's really cool to see the Ackerman of Florida going out there and representing well around, whether it's sports, as you said, journalism, everything.
Oh, in that era, too, and just kind of see like your guys do it, right? It's like, back in my day, and Joakim Noah's out there talking trash to LeBron,
right?
Tim Tebow's, winning, games in the fourth quarter, completing 5 passes,
the Broncos days,
and winning that 2011 magical season, and then, people like, Al Horford, just being so steady as a pro and being the pro's pro. It's not like, they're mine but you feel like it.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, hell yeah, dude. Like, go for it. And it's just like a pride, like little Gator Nation pride.
Oh yeah.
And to see the basketball team be able to do what they did here last year.
Exactly.
It was just like, man, it just felt so good for that new crop of Gators,
exactly,
and the younger Gators to go. Yeah, man, that's what I feel like, man.
Yeah, and then Billy Donovan's still in the NBA. Is coaching for, I think he's the Chicago Bulls coach, if I remember.
That's right.
No, it really is amazing. And, like, sports for me have always been a favorite
We won't
thing.
talk about Urban Meyer yet.
That was, what's funny? So you bring up Urban Meyer. Funny enough, me and her were at a wedding in Covington, Kentucky, so right across from Cincinnati, the river from Cincinnati.
Uh-oh, I know this is going to
And I'm sitting there after the wedding on my phone, and I see it pop up of him grabbing ass. I'm like, no way is that happening.
Oil check alert.
I swear, man. And I used to love him, man. Urban Meyer, the Gators coach, that hard-nosed coach. And then I see that, and I'm like, God. And what's crazy is he's still like an announcer for for the college games and stuff. I'm like, did we just sweep things under the rug?
We kind of memory hold all that.
Yeah.
And
kicking players as he's walking by them.
Listen, kicking the kicker, right? But there was gossip even after I left, right? Because he coached maybe that was last year, was my last year there.
Because he went to Ohio State afterwards.
But he went to Ohio State.
Yeah.
But remember, he like quit because he had heart issues and then came back, right? And I have heard some stories that there's a lot of internal turmoil going on there personally, and then for that to be revealed on the stage of being an NFL coach,
and of course the Jaguars coach,
right? Of course, I know my team. I'm like, because a lot of people were jumping for joy on that, and I was kind of like, doing the Tony Romo. I don't know, Jim, because
I don't know, Jim.
I'm like, and. Because that Cincinnati game was like week 3 or 4. It was really early. It was really early, and you don't fly back with the team.
Yep.
What?
Mm-hmm.
And for someone as patient as Shad Khan to fire your ass after 11 games, oh boy, you suck. And so, good riddance.
Oh, 100%.
I can't stand the guy. I think he was great at domineering young men who are not professionals and scaring them and getting championships out of them.
Yep.
It worked to an extent, but at what price, right? And happy for the championships. Thanks for the help.
Yeah.
Later, Tater.
No,
that's my opinion on that.
No, I'm the same way. When it came to that, me and her were sitting in the hotel room, and I'm like, "There's no fucking way I just saw this. There's no way what I'm seeing there." But when it comes to that, Jaguars are on a new ride. So let's talk about the podcast, my man. So the Unofficial Jaguar Podcast.
Unofficial Jacksonville Jaguar Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, you can go UJJP. As you search that in the YouTube, pull it up. Also on Spotify, Apple, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, man. And if you ever need a Jaguar guest to get in there, I got you. I'm more than happy. I'll say because, like, obviously, I was telling you, we started our sports podcast. We do sports betting as well as just analysis over all the games and stuff. And we're about about to have our final episode we got 2 episodes left. We're going to do one after the Super Bowl.
Ooh.
And when it comes to the season that we just went on, man, it was a crazy ride. From that trip 6, when I tell you, I was sitting on that couch right over there, and I saw him trip, and I was like, no way did he just do this to us.
What is the one memory that you're going to take from this season? Would it be that play?
No, to be honest with you, the best, I would say, there's a couple plays, I would say, so I'll give you a list. So
yeah, give me a top 3.
The top 3, that pass that he threw, I'm not even a big BTJ fan, but that same game against the Chiefs where he threw it to BTJ on that sideline catch, that was one of the most beautiful throws I've ever seen in my life. Also, the trip 6, I would say, is probably the starter of Trevor Lawrence showing that he is a quarterback that is going to stay here and is going to, in my opinion, win us a championship one of these years. And let me think of one other play. I'm trying to think here. I mean, the amount of passes that were thrown to Parker Washington that should not have been caught was amazing.
I think it has to be one of those boot lefts, throw it across your body.
To Travis Hunter, that one was wild.
Because there's one against the Colts in the rain.
Yes.
And then there's that one against the Jets.
Yes.
Tim Patrick caught the one on the Colts. Parker Washington caught the one against the Jets. And those are both so insane. And when I saw both of those throws, I was like, oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Mm-hmm.
He got it. And I think it's going to stay.
I think Liam Cohen.
And so one of those 2 plays would have to be in my top 3 personally.
I agree.
Yeah.
So. I think Liam Cohen came here and gave Lawrence the confidence that he needed, in my opinion. And also, when we were talking to Connor McNally, he talked about where Liam Cohen came by and just showed who he is as a person. He showed up to Strings recently where he did where they're doing the Action News Sports and all that stuff. Right. And after all the cameras turned off, he stayed there for another couple, whether it was 30 minutes, and talked to the crowd and was saying, hey, I know the season didn't end the way we wanted it to, but he's like, next year we're coming out better. He's like, obviously I'm not happy with how it ended. We are going to come back. And I also think the Jaguars have a new belief behind them to go from, 4-13 last year to go to 13-4. This is probably the best season I've seen of the Jaguars in all 27 years of my life.
And which makes the ending so much more bittersweet.
It was very bittersweet.
And so, because you have Drake May versus Jared Stidham.
Drake May
and the AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
He got a free ride to the freaking Super Bowl on that one.
Charmin Soft would be a disrespect to the Charmin Company.
I agree.
On that schedule.
I hope you Patriots fans are listening too. Hey, shout out Todd, my stepfather. I know you're listening to this.
But to contextualize this, right? Like how do we take the question is not, how is it, obviously we have a way that we feel about the season.
Of course.
But how are we going to feel about the season in 5 years, in 6 years? Is this going to be the start of a sustained success period, or is this going to be a flash in the pan?
Like 2017.
Like 2022, too.
2022. You're right.
Both. Yep. Like 2007, David Garrard. So
Shout out David Garrard.
We have not had sustained success since the second Clinton administration. 96, 97, 98, that's 99. Right. And so us Jaguars fans are built different because we've sucked and then we've been teased. And every time we've been teased, we're going, guys, we're here, we're legit. And the media is going, I don't know, show it to me one more time. And we never do.
That's true.
We never show it.
That's
and
true.
that adds to the anxiety and the angst and everything. And so, to go back and go, Seth, would you have been happy with a 13-4 season? Of course. Are you high?
Yeah.
Yes.
I've been there when they haven't won a single game. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, brother, I've been there for the whole trip. And so it felt good. And the anxiety that Jaguars fans have and going, how can we win 13 games next season, right? I mean, how likely is it? But what makes it different in my mind is that we have that man that you talked about, Liam Cohen.
Yeah.
And we have Trevor Lawrence, who, this is my take. He's the greatest quarterback in Jaguars history. Now, in my opinion, because I think for a team that's lost so many times, he's dragged shit teams to winning records. You know, went 9-8, 9-8, and then 13-4.
Exactly.
When you have coaching, it's just like finally.
Well, that's also the thing is Liam Cohen opens up, because that was the biggest problem with our past 3 head coaches that we've had with them, or 2-3 head coaches we had with them. It's predictable. Yes. Every single time it is 3rd and 3, 100%. I know what they're going to do.
Yes.
And now watching Lawrence, he also has a lot more command over the offense, which I do like. Yeah. In some ways, I don't like it because he always does this last second shit, and we also, like, you know, there's 5 seconds left on the play clock, and he's like, all right, let's change it. I'm like, stop, Lawrence. I'm like, I understand you see something. Do the play.
Right.
But we're also putting people around him. Our freaking wide receiver room is something crazy right now. Parker Washington came out of nowhere and has become his safety blanket. I also think a lot of people are underrating that Jacoby Myers trade that we got this year. Once that happened, I was actually super excited about that because he wasn't getting the ball in Las Vegas, and Las Vegas is a trash can of a...
And most importantly, he caught the ball.
Yes.
Well, that was our big thing for the beginning of the year and all last year, because people were riding Trevor's butt about it, and the whole thing was, like, I would always come back and say to people, because we post clips online and stuff...
Watch tape.
Yeah. Like, if he's throwing, say, in a season, a fake number here, he throws 300 balls, and 180 of them are dropped, that's not on him. He's putting the ball in placement. Now, he is good for a interception or 2 years, and they're looking like, what did you do? Yeah, like, what are you doing? But I also think Lawrence has understood a little bit more. They are letting him use his legs. He also doesn't dive backwards anymore, where he's going to get his forehead or his head bounce off the ground anymore. Also, what we did this year was without Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
So obviously he is going to need a couple years. He's not going to be automatic a game changer yet. He needs to put on 15, 20 pounds.
He doesn't need to be.
No, he doesn't, because that's where Parker Washington comes in.
Travis, you be Travis.
Yes.
And everything else will work out. I really believe that.
And I'm interested to see what we do with ETN this year. Yeah. I think we do keep him personally, depending on how much money he's asking for.
Yep.
But I don't think he wants to leave Lawrence personally. Lloyd is a very big question mark. I would hate to see him leave, but when it comes to cap space, we're going to have to do with what we got to do. And our boy genius, who's the general man? What's his name?
Gladstone.
Thank you, Gladstone. Gladstone, I also believe in him as well. There's not going to be clown faces out in the stands anymore because of that.
No. And it's all because we got rid of Balky.
Oh,
because
Balky was trash.
Well, I mean, no, Balky was everything in the sense that Liam Cohen denied the job, signed with Tampa to be the OC, and then Shad had a decision to make. And he cut Balky. Liam Cohen comes up here. The rest is history.
Yeah.
But only because of that.
Exactly.
And so that butterfly effect from there is nuts. Now, question for y'all.
Go ahead.
Here on this, from y'all's perspective on the Jaguar season. So there was, for the first 7-8 games of the season, Trevor did not look like a good quarterback.
Nope, he did not.
What were you all thinking at that time?
So I would say...
Because you got a person that you're paying $55 million a year, were you all... Give him the rest of this. What were you all thinking at that moment? What was your lowest on Trevor? You mean?
So I would say the part where I was getting pissed off with Trevor and just the Jaguars in general was when we gave up that 19-point lead to 100%. Davis Mills against the Texans.
Yes.
That was a very easily winnable game.
Yes. In
my personal opinion, and I feel like the defense let up. I also feel like we took our foot off the gas. That was the main thing.
Yes.
And the biggest question mark for me, because I was getting a little irritated by it, but I was like, all right, we have a bye week. I want to see what we look like out of this bye week. And obviously, we all saw what happened. They won out the rest of the season, besides obviously that playoff game, which is sad. But no, I was sitting there talking about getting rid of BTJ, which I still feel like we could get rid of. That's just me personally. It's a hot take. A lot of people don't like that take on that one. Also, ETN kind of came into his own after that as well. It was just they didn't look polished. That was the biggest part. I also feel like Lawrence is being very tentative on his throws. He would pump fake and then throw the ball, and it was seeming very out of kind of like in basketball. Someone passes you the ball as you're getting ready to shoot, you're in rhythm to go and make that shot. It was the same for him. He would try to think he was going to throw it, pull it back down, and then make a second decision, which was not the right decision at all. When Liam Cohen sat there and said, "Hey, we're going to let him rip it," everybody was roasting him about that. "Oh, you're gonna let him rip it? Okay,
rip it for an interception."
Yeah, and then he did, and then you saw Lawrence start getting comfortable.
He didn't miss after that.
Exactly, and really the biggest change in our whole team this year, he had time to throw the ball.
Yeah, a much improved offensive line. Not a perfect one, but much improved.
Not perfect. What was your opinion, Shannon?
So as far as the first part of the season, I think there was so much focus on what Travis Hunter and Trevor Lawrence were going to be as a combo.
Right.
And when he got hurt, things kind of got thrown for a loop. And they had to kind of revise, restructure of how they were going to move forward after that. So I think, he went down, third game? Second?
No, I think he was was it like week 7, week 8?
It was in London against the Rams.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So it was a little farther out in the season, but I still think he was brand new. So again, with all the pressure on him as well.
We had a very young receiving core to start the year off.
Very young.
Yes. So I think that did play a big part of it, but obviously, Trevor, he just got a big contract. Everyone was expecting a lot of him.
It was the baby bump, in my opinion.
You kept saying it was going to be the baby bump.
Yep.
He just needed time with Cohen to, in actual season,
yes,
rather than practice.
My favorite part of the season when Trevor was starting to show his stuff is when he waved off Liam Cohen. I was like, yeah, Trevor. I was like, do it. I want to see it. Yeah.
Yeah. My Trevor thing comes down to that because I just remember the dogs were out for him. And we've graded Trevor on this wild scale where you can't throw an interception. What? Like every quarterback does. Exactly. Every quarterback makes a bad decision. But in the context of this year, it did start off rough. But you got to think about it from Trevor Lawrence's perspective. He's coached in college by Dabo Swinney, who is notorious for not developing NFL-ready talent, right? He comes in and who's his first coach? The aforementioned oil checker Urban Meyer, where Trevor is having to essentially be a leader as a rookie.
And that's not his vibe either.
Right. I mean, just complete shit show where Trevor's able to, frankly, just get out of it unscathed, thank God. And then Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson, I think, is an excellent person. I think he did but he's not necessarily innovative. That RPO offense that he ran was pretty simple. And it really didn't evolve past when the Eagles won the Super Bowl
with Foles,
with Foles in 17. And so it was stale. And then so 22 happens, they make the playoffs. 23 happens, they start off hot. He plays hurt. Mm-hmm. And now you're having Press Taylor call it. And it's becoming predictable, and they lose out. And I think Trevor shouldn't have maybe played some of those games. I think some of that's on him. I mean, Trevor's not perfect on this. And then in 2024, you just get the worst Press Taylor experience ever. Everything's predictable. Everything's stuck in the past. And then this year, and Trevor's looking at the playbook going, what the fuck? I got a West Coast Shanahan baseball. I've never dealt with anything this complicated ever before. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's obviously a smart cat,
and it wasn't even the full playbook,
right? And he's learning it. And there's I think there was a lot of stories about Liam Cohen teaching him to go off of either his front foot forward or left foot forward.
That's right. You're right.
Right, and there was a lot, and there were some things about the mechanics that Cohen and the coaching staff be like, wait, they never coached you this before? And he's like, yeah, what? And so there was baptism by fire this year for Trevor in game, in season, with a new West Coast offense that took time to learn, time to implement. And that's why I was like, even with that blown 19-point lead, guess who blew the lead? The defense.
right? They went 3 and out a couple times, but that was it.
But it's always the backup quarterbacks that get us. It's Browning that was so annoying.
But the dogs came out for Trevor when it was our defense that let us down.
Exactly.
So, and I was seeing some crazy takes, at that time. And I'm just like, just give them to the end of the year. And damn it clicked. And I've never been so happy to be so right about something. And the question is, can he do it again? And I think the answer is yes. And because it's Liam Cohen. Yeah. And because we got Brant Udisky. And we got Anthony Campanile.
And we're keeping them for another year.
Run it back, boys. Mm-hmm. Run it back. So I'm stoked. And again, I was talking about, is a sustained success. I think for the first time since the 90s, it is. Mm-hmm. And so I couldn't have started this podcast at a better time, man.
Well, that was the same with that was the same with us, man. Like, funny enough, I've actually had my biggest clip ever go off this week. So we hit 100K on TikTok the other day for a video, and it wasn't even about the Jaguars. It was me talking about the whole Bo Nix injury. I think Bo Nix didn't hurt himself in that second play. I think homeboy went into the locker room and celebrated and then shattered his ankle in there. That's me personally. That's just me personally, because a lot of people have been talking about the conspiracy, and I think there's some stuff going on. But when it comes to Jacksonville, my favorite part of it is the feeling in the city when the Jaguars are good.
Yeah.
Like that year, me and Shannon were at the game where we were against the Chargers and we were down like 21, 23.
27-0.
Exactly. And we were watching that game live, freezing our butts off up there. And that energy, I wish you could bottle that up and be able to take that as a medicine, because it literally was electric. Duval is known to be a little bit of a harder city, right? But when it comes to the Jags, that's where everybody agrees on something with how they feel about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yes. And when the Jaguars are doing good, shit, the economy in Jacksonville is doing good. Businesses are coming in, all kinds of stuff.
It's a different city, and it's crazy how much correlation there is between a culture and a team. And as someone who I've been here since I was, as long as I remember, I came here when I was 4 years old. So I've been here for the whole.
Where are you originally from?
I was Air Force brat, so born abroad.
Gotcha.
But we finally settled here in Jacksonville when I was a boy, and but to be here for the whole thing, and I remember '99, right?
That's the year I was born.
I remember
good year.
Oh yeah, it was, baby. 14-2, baby.
The Brunel days and everybody.
And so I remember all that. But like it was so far back in my past that it's like, man, when are we gonna get that again? So I feel like I've just getting kicked in the nuts over and over and over again through the entire 21st century, and then I'm like. I hear that Chris Campione we do a meeting, and he's like, "Hey guys, also one of the things we're going to be doing a podcast studio. So anybody have any bright ideas? Let me know."
That's sick.
And I'm like, "All right." And so as soon as the meeting ended, I walked into his office and go, "Chris, listen, I love the law. I'm a good lawyer. I don't want to talk about it myself. Y'all can do it." And they actually have a podcast on there. Allegedly, it's really good, really fun.
Allegedly.
I was looking at their clips. I was checking it out.
And they've done and we, as a firm, we've done a really good job. But I was like, let's just do a Jags only pod. He's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, brother, let's, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Mm-hmm. And, and it's been a great season to start doing it, and I've gotten better at my day job because of it. Because podcasting, this stuff ain't easy. My job's to talk, and it's like, even because we had Fred Taylor on, and I had to fight my lawyer urge so bad and not ask him stupid questions like, "Isn't it true that you ran for 12,000 yards in the NFL? Isn't it true that you're drafted off university?" I was going to ask him leading questions.
Different form.
Completely form. So I'm like, all right, I got to take myself completely out of it.
He seems like a
super cool dude, and I was so nervous for that. It was really funny, and but ended up nailing it. But I had to fight my lawyer urges. But I think that even creating content myself, because my skills are that I'm literate. Mm-hmm. That's my only skill. I can read, write, and talk good, if you think about it.
You would think that's an easier skill, but it's really not in today's world. But I was like, trust me. Yeah.
But there's an art to it.
Of course.
and doing it under a different format and under content creation and talking about something else, you're able to, hone your craft in your day job a little better and have some fun while doing it, and be able to kind of promote the firm and talk Jaguars.
No, it's a fun thing, even with what I do for a day job, right? Like, I've always been a talker to people. Like, whenever, obviously, with I do HVAC, I'm in your home, right? And I'm 6'5", so I'm a bigger dude. And a lot of times when who's home during the day? Usually it's the wife. Usually it's a mom or something like that. So me being a bigger person, never want anybody to ever feel intimidated by me coming in their home.
Talk.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, how you doing?
Roll the charm dice.
Exactly. Where are you from? A lot of times they see my wedding ring, like, oh, you're married? I'm like, yeah, I've been married. And me and her, funny enough, used to have a mini pig back in the day.
We did.
So that's always my first thing I show them. I was like, yeah, me and my wife, when we first started dating, had a mini pig and all that. But, working on your vernacular. Because that's something 100%. I've had to work on, because Shannon knows I have little catchphrases where I'll get stuck into someone says something.
Your bag?
Yeah. And then I'll be like, oh, 100% or this and that. And I'll say it 1,000 times, and I do all the editing and all that stuff. So I'm sitting there listening to him like, Connor, stop saying that 10,000 times. I'm going to freak out. But the podcast game is so much fun, man, because a lot of people are trying to be Joe Rogan. And, they think that their thought is the first thought and first time that thought's ever been put out and all that.
Right.
And my big thing is, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Obviously, we all want to make millions of dollars off our podcast and stuff, but really the main thing you should be doing is enjoying it. Enjoying the people that you're sitting down and talking with, because, I was telling you your episode 195, pardon me. And like, the main thing I had to tell myself is like, work on your craft, enjoy it. If you're not enjoying it, it's going to come through on the camera side of things.
100%.
And it's become better because I've sat down with so many different kinds of people, whether it's different ethnicities, different religions, different, political backgrounds, all that stuff. And that's something I'm very big on, is letting everybody have a platform to talk. Because at the end of the day, just because you may have a different opinion than me doesn't mean you're wrong, or maybe it will help, whether it strengthen my opinion or it can help me have different thoughts on different things. A big thing for me is I'm not personally religious myself, but a lot of people will come on and talk about God and all that, and I find it interesting because I grew up in the church family, very like forced down my throat kind of thing.
Right.
And as I've gotten older, I've softened my tone on my opinion. I've actually sat down, like we go to church for Christmas, Easter, all that stuff with my mom. She's a deacon of a church.
Okay.
And it's helped me, soften my tone and not think I know everything, because I don't.
Right.
And sitting down with people of so many different backgrounds and things has helped me learn, more about my community, help me to not judge people either, because I am a very big person. I'm sure, as you, with what you do for a job, I do believe people should have a second chance on certain things. Obviously, different crimes, certain crimes, I'm like, I think you probably need to get that figured out. But it's really been a big learning thing for me. And at the end of the day, if this podcast doesn't turn into the Joe Rogan experience or whatever it is, there's 4 or 5 years of me and my wife and my friends and great people of Jacksonville talking, and it could be just a timepiece, or say, knock on wood, if I happen to leave this earth early, there's 6 years of
you are leaving something behind,
and my kids can see what their dad was like.
That's one of the reasons I ended up starting to, because I got 2 young daughters, and I was thinking about that. And I was like, I kind of want to do something.
A girl dad, what's that like?
It's been really cool.
How old are your kids? You don't mind me asking?
They're 3 and 4.
Oh, nice. Okay, so they're still young. Yeah,
very young girls. And I'm a very proud dad, but at the end of the day, kind of, we're in no matter what you're doing as a job, you're more likely not in the people business in some form or capacity.
Of course, yeah.
You deal with people, you deal with humans, you talk to people, and to be able to converse, to listen to other people, to understand how they think, is so invaluable. And my job, at its core, I just said I'm just literate. That's the only thing I can do. Is really just to tell their stories, right?
I love it.
To tell their stories and fight for them as best I can. But at the end of the day, we're all human, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what juries are too. Until we got the AI jurors.
Oh gosh,
that'll be a very scary day. But no, man, it really is a cool experience, and obviously I'm sure through everything that you've gotten to do and the thousands of people you've probably dealt with over your time of being Campione or anything else that you've done when it comes to the law side, I'm sure you've gotten to see the best and the worst sides of people, and I'm sure it's a very interesting thing, because that's something I've always been interested in, is why people think the way they think. So there's certain times, we've sat down with people, we sat down with the CEO of JEA here in Jacksonville. And nice. And my big question was to him, what makes you qualified to run $1 billion business? Why you? Why are you making $40 million a year and everything. And it's just interesting to see how people think. Yeah. Because I feel like whenever I've sat down with lawyers or even met lawyers in person, right, you guys are very, not to put all y'all in the box, but you guys have a swagger to you. Obviously, the talking part is a big part of it, but it's a personality based thing that I see, right. And I find it interesting because I've met very nice lawyers and I've met very serious and straight to the point lawyers, and I'm like, okay, you're not messing around at all.
And you're right. There's different kind of schools of lawyering, I guess you would say. I mean, believe it or not, I was a theater kid in high school, I
like it.
Duh. But some of the best and most effective closing arguments I've seen, one of them was just a guy, and he had no tone. He would talk like this, but the words he chose, it didn't matter. He had his tie loose, and it didn't necessarily look beat up suit, and he just killed it. And it's just being and it sounds stupid, just be yourself. But really, just be yourself on there.
I wonder if I know who you're talking about.
No, I reckon you don't. He's a great attorney down south. But him and others I've learned from that. There's no one way to do it. There's just your way, right? Yeah. And shoot, you don't have to be speaking to be an attorney. You can just be a tax lawyer and such, and just shut yourself in the room if you want.
Of course,
the law is not just abracadabra. And I'm just saying magic words and money pops out of thin air. There's work that goes into it, but there's different. For any person who wants to be an attorney, I would my one word advice just talk in your own voice. Just don't try to be someone else's, because juries, any judges, anyone can spot a phony pretty quick.
I like it. So I think we are coming to the end. We're going to have to definitely do a part 2 and everything, because like I said,
I'd love to come back. This has been a lot of fun, dude.
It's an open door, man. Like I said, we're very big on keeping people and having people come on yearly, to be honest with you. So we would love to continue the relationship and everything. And like I said, if you ever need a guest on the pod, man, I could talk Jags all day. So all about it. So I do have a final question. So anytime it's someone's first time on the show, I always end with this question.
All right.
Do you feel successful? And if you do or do not, in what ways?
I feel successful, but why not more?
I like it.
It's a good look.
That was a very concise answer. I like that. That was solid. That was solid.
Yeah. Why not more? I mean, don't be no complacency.
I like it. I say always strive for more. Because Shannon knows me. I'm very much I'll achieve something that I've been working hard for a long time, and then I'm like, what's next? I'm very much that guy, whether it's through my careers and everything. Like, I'm very much of a try things, right?
Stay hungry.
Yeah, stay hungry. Feeding me. Yeah, because life takes you down different ways. Like, originally I was going to college to be a nurse, and then COVID happened, and then had to figure things out from there. And like, knock on wood and everything, I'm very lucky in my life, and that's something I have to take a step back a lot of times. And you had a bad day at work, something didn't go your way, but then you take a step back and look at the macro or the macro version of it. Picture. I have a roof over my head, I have food in my belly, and I have a family that loves me.
And a hell of a studio.
I appreciate it.
Thank you all for having me over.
Of course, awesome. My man. So before we get out of here today, please let everybody know where they can follow your podcast, obviously Campione Law, all that kind of stuff, man.
So Campione Law, but you're going to want to check out UJJP, the Unofficial Jacksonville Jaguar Podcast, on pretty much any platform. Also, any legal questions, give me a call. My cell phone, 904-234-9700. Socials at Seth Studer.
I like it, y'all. And everything he just said will be linked in the description below. So phone number, all the social media stuff. If you guys have a question about any law, anything you guys need in general, make sure you reach out to this man right here. And while you guys are doing that as well, make sure you subscribe to his podcast, to the social medias, all that stuff. We love when the Who Are You podcast listeners are checking out the people we're sitting down with. So
and this pod too, man. Hell of a job, guys. Great.
I appreciate it. And like I said, while you guys are in the following and subscribing mood, make sure to give us a follow, a like. It's good. We're on everything from Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube as well, at Who Are You Pod for all of that. We're all on all streaming platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that good stuff. So just click the link tree. You guys will be able to find everything on there. And then my final thing today, if you feel like you'd be a good fit for the show, you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, a lawyer, a content creator, and you feel like you'd be a good fit, either hit me up in the DMs on at Who Are You Pod for all the social media, or you can email us whoareyoupod@yahoo.com. And maybe we'll have you guys on a future episode. But Seth, thank you so much for your time today, my man.
Thank you both.
Of course. Thank you, wifey, as always.
Always a pleasure.
And we will see you guys next week.
Bye.